Welcome to the Business Vitality Podcast. My name is Cantey. I am the host and an executive coach. I work with teams, individuals, and leaders to help create measured leadership change. We do that using practical applications, and our clients are creating 100% measured results as seen by those around them. Not necessarily what I think or what they think, but what the other people are seeing. And they are being recognized for the hard work that they're doing. If you're interested in learning more about some of the work that we're doing, you can learn more at catherinecantey.com. I would love for you to subscribe to this show, to Business Vitality. This is my way to continue to pay it forward and share business best practices. Stay tuned and listen to the interview. Thanks for being here. Brett Trembly, you are the founder of Trembly Law Firm, but most recently referred to as the co-founder of GetStaffedUp.com. Thank you so much for joining us.
Of course, Catherine. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. Thank you. So I'm just going to jump right in. Tell me about Get Staffed Up. I'm curious to learn about this.
Yeah, so I have the law firm. I've had it for 10 years. Get Staffed Up is about 3.5 years old, and we do virtual staffing for our target market, right? The one that we market to is lawyers, because me and my co-founder are lawyers, but we do niches bring riches, right? So you focus on a target and then you pull in lots of others. And so we have lots of other, business owning clients. And what we're helping people do is fill the gaps. A lot of entrepreneurs and business owners have so many hats they're wearing and so many things that their business isn't getting done that they wish they could hire someone for. But traditionally, it's so expensive and hard to hire. When you hire domestically, when everyone's domestic, your expenses keep pace with your revenue, and it's frustrating. So we're helping people get their own staff assistants and their company fill traditional roles like secretaries, receptionists, billing clerks, client success coordinators or client happiness coordinators, and marketing assistants. And we're doing that all virtually and all overseas international. So our last thing I'll say on this is our differentiator is most companies like us are out of the Philippines, and we're out of South Africa and Latin America only, and we're full time.
So are you still practicing law on top of this?
Practicing, no. I still spend about 20% of my time running or helping run the law firm. But I haven't actually done pen to paper practice law in probably 5 years.
So the podcast is called Business Vitality. And what I've learned over 20 years of just working with different business owners and CEOs is what we used to be doing is not going to be the same thing that we're going to be doing 3 to 5 years down the road. And the research is showing the businesses, they do fine in the beginning, but they can't make it past year 10 because there's these new startup companies that come up, and it's easy when you're new and young and you can bust through some of that maybe the bigger companies are hitting against. And so it sounds like you're adapting to the market, you're maintaining vitality in your space. You found a niche to be able to grow. Can you talk about what that was like as an attorney that was probably feeling frustration, I'm guessing, and that's kind of what took you here?
So yeah, one of the frustrations I had early on, I was a true solo. It was me, myself, and Irene, right? Like I was answering my own phones, sending my own faxes, because this is 2011, doing all my own marketing, all my own networking, and I never had a time to do the actual work of the business. So whether that's, baking pies or cooking food, mine was doing the legal work. So I spent 2.5 years frustrated with why I couldn't grow. And then I finally started hiring. When I say finally, most people think, well, when I have X amount of dollars in my bank account, that's when I can afford to hire somebody. That is the wrong way to look at it. And I'm not saying that from a judgment standpoint. I'm saying I had to learn the hard way. People that learn this the easy way, they move a lot more quickly. But for those of us who are just so sort of tied to, we bootstrap, we don't have a lot of money. Maybe we're used to not spending money before we have it. But in order to get that money in your bank account, you have to hire someone first, because that person's going to free up your time to do more of the things that are going to help the business and the revenue grow. So I don't know how frustrated I was. I always have fun, not at the beginning, but once I started hiring and we started growing and then I hired more and more, it's been fun ever since. There's good days and bad days. Everyone knows life of an entrepreneur. But what I did is I spent a good amount of years building up our leadership team so that I could take a step back from being, 60, 70 hours a week at the law firm, and I could focus on other things. And that other thing happened to be this virtual staffing company that, talk about good timing. COVID is what it is. It hurt a lot of people, a lot of my business law clients, our law firm, but in terms of virtual staffing, it was like, wow, right business, right time. So it has just absolutely blown up in a good way, since COVID started.
Are you helping attorneys that are smaller in practice size, like what you used to be with, a one person shop, or what seems to be the niche that you're finding?
Ideally, like a law firm has 2 to 20 attorneys is kind of who we like to work with. Now, my favorite thing is helping somebody like me make their first hire and then learn like, oh, this works, right? But when somebody is true solo, if they've done it for too long, they have a lot of bad habits that
Mhm.
die hard, and they don't want to spend the time training. They don't want to spend the time delegating. They don't want to spend the time growing. They're also risk averse. There is a huge ego component with hiring, because if you hire, you're putting it out there to the world. I'm trying to grow. I'm trying to do better. And then if you fail, you feel like you're a failure. And so
Mhm.
it's easy to say, oh, no, I'm happy doing what I am. And millennials this and workers that, and everyone's terrible. And I'm the only one. And that's just protecting your ego, and you're really lying to yourself. And at this juncture, I don't mind if I offend anyone, because I've been there. I get it. I'm not judging, but I've never met a true, like, I do everything on my own. I have no help, and I'm just, so happy that I have all this time with my family and everything, free time to do what I want, to focus on what I want, and I'm changing the world. And yet I'm running my business top to bottom all by myself. I've never met that person.
Yeah, they don't exist. I mean, I haven't heard of them either. So tell me, a lot of people starting out, they say the biggest investment needs to be in yourself and investing in yourself. And what we're talking about here is a little bit different. It's investing in the business and being able to outsource and delegate some of these things out. Do you think those are two different animals, investing in yourself versus investing in hiring or outsourcing?
I think they're intertwined.
Yeah.
Technically, there's a difference, and they say that personal growth precedes professional growth. So you've got to become the person who can hire someone, and then become the person that someone else wants to work for. And those are personal things, or work with. Those are personal things to work on. But and then in taking action on the business, you're actually becoming a different person. That's why I say that they're intertwined.
I like it. Um, Tell me, a little bit, where do you think people are kind of making some mistakes before they're bringing you in? And I don't know, just if they see this within their existing day-to-day operation, what does that look like that they should be looking at when they reach out or know that they need to reach out to you?
Well, most people don't see it because most people are so busy getting up every day. They're just like ingrained, and they're on the hamster wheel. And I'm really, this is not a judgment standpoint. This is a get off the hamster wheel and think. It's called Think and Grow Rich. It's not called Work and Grow Rich. You're not going to work your way out of where you are. Your life's not going to be different, right? The definition of insanity. Nothing's going to magically change for you. So your business will be just magically what you want in 10 years. And most people don't take the time to just think about what they want their business to look like, what steps they need to take. Even a year from now, what are the 1 or 2 big changes, and then how do I get there? That type of thinking is changing a mindset, which is either refusing to acknowledge those things to make yourself feel better, or just not even taking the time. Start journaling 15 minutes every morning and just journal what you, and I hate when people are like, oh, I'm not a writer. Okay, but you have to give yourself time to think, and then your action should reflect where you want your business to go, because you've actually planned it. You're not just reacting to your day after day after day. So that's the first camp, right? And that's a mindset discussion. It frustrates me when people are so certain that oh, I tried it once. This is the other camp. Like, it's the old bicycle. You tried to ride a bike one time when you were 5, you fell over, and now you're never. It's like bike riding's not for you. People are like, oh, I don't want to hire. I tried that once, and there's like criminal defense attorneys. It's sometimes, I'll be like, hey, who answers your phone? Before I'm done even asking the question, they're like so defensive and jump in there, and you just like feel the energy with all of these excuses. All my clients, they need me when they need me when they need me, they need me right now, blah, blah, blah. I said, okay, well, when you're in court working really hard to defend the person who needs you, what about all your other clients and new clients? Like, who's answering your phone? And then, that there's the stumble in the response, because people just make up so many reasons why they don't need help. It's like, you don't have to work with me, for God's sakes. Like, just acknowledge to yourself you could use help and you're not doing it. Like, that's the person I like to work with. Somebody who's just has thought through these things, and they're like, I need help in trying to get better. Because guess what? I started growing when someone told me to hire, and I hired a business coach, and somebody helped me see all these things. And then I started reading a mixture of business books and quasi self-help, but more like self-reflection books, right? And some of the Napoleon Hills and the real thinkers. So, I guess that's my 2-part answer.
I like it. Tell me, when did all that journey start for you? Because it sounds like I don't think any of us are born with it. And it's just something that we become aware of, we get probably interested in, and then
Yeah.
like the light switches just turn on.
So another 2-part answer. I always knew I would run my own business. And because I was pretty good at finding ways to make money growing up, I kind of assumed that meant I would become a business owner, and then I would just do really well. So the part, and a lot of entrepreneurs don't even take the leap until they're in their 40s. So it's not too late for most people. But that, like, I don't think you need to be born with that, but you certainly don't need to be born with learning how to become a good business owner and how to become a good employer. And those are the things I had to learn. I just assumed because I liked business, I'd be good at it. And I thought I was, but I hit my ceiling because I didn't realize mechanical reasons, not like leadership reasons, but I could not squeeze more out of what I was already trying to squeeze. And that was me and my time. And like, it didn't, I was frustrated, but I didn't know why. And looking back now, it's like, well, duh. If it's just so easy with lawyers to use this example, I had time to do one hour of legal work per day on average, right? Because I was working nights and weekends, because there's so many hundreds of different roles that a business needs and hats to wear. And if you double that, now you double your business, right? But you can't just ever get to the place where you can double it without a long road of slow growth. Because as you probably know, Catherine, when you're trying to grow a business and you're spending all your time working in the business, then you're not marketing and you're not bringing in new business. And that's how you get the peaks and the valleys, and you have the feast or famine. The other thing is you had a good quote, I guess, about 10 years, and then you have new businesses come along with new innovation. There's a valley of death. Like 94% of the businesses that get to 1 million never get to 3 to 5 million in revenue. My opinion is because people don't switch from hustle, market, sell and themselves to being the leader of a team and starting to say, like, I'm the general manager of this team and I need to build out the best team and the best systems possible to run the business.
Got lots of good quotes. I'm jotting them down. I love Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill, all those great books. Do you have any other favorites that you want to share?
Yeah, let me think about the ones that not everybody knows. I do the 5 dysfunctions of a team is a really good one. And there's Good to Great think it was
Mhm.
Jim Collins. That's another that I really like that I've used, right? Not just that I like, but that I've sort of implemented a lot of the theories.
I like it. All right. So in the beginning, you mentioned that you are a little bit different with the staffing and support. You've got folks, you have talent that's coming from South Africa. Why that? Why that area of the world?
So we started out of the Philippines,
Mhm.
but again, just sort of practicing what I preach by thinking and analyzing and researching. We started moving into Latin America and found that the English language ability and the culture was a better fit than people out of the Philippines, for your client facing roles and for the roles where you want to just you don't want to look at virtual assistants and hiring as just project based, right? We're talking about full-time positions in your firm, so you need people who can think like anyone else that you want to hire. And there's a strong base in the Philippines for a lot of things, a lot
Mhm.
of routine order taking type positions. That's what they teach. It's what they preach. Their economy is set up to be remote workers. It's pretty cool. But we felt like the client facing, the project based, etc. We were having such a good experience in Latin America, and then South Africa just kind of came to us that we learned it was a good economy and market right now to hire remotely out of South Africa.
I think that's great because you do hear the Philippines, and you try to outweigh all the different options that are sitting out there. And so I find it interesting that you're able to match that different mindset that you're going to need in thinking and communication and client facing roles, and be able to match them with that. Can you give me maybe a great success story, a client success story that you're really excited about, that um, somebody that you've worked with? It sounds like you like to find these folks that maybe are struggling a little bit, and you get them over the hump and change the world for a better for them.
Yeah, and then I'll tell you too. We had this client who, no offense to her, because a lot of us were like this, she was just a mess. Hired someone through us, and opposing attorneys were saying like, "Wow, how did you?" And I'm not making this up. Like, how did you get so organized? What's going on? And that was because of somebody she found through us. Like, you're talking, we hire the top 1%. We have 250,000 people that apply to work with us on average per year, and we're placing less than 1,000. So that's less than the top 1%. So we're finding smart, energetic, hardworking, fun, really great, most of them with degrees, and they can make a huge difference in your business. Another really fun example is a completely virtual business. He's now up to like 20 people that he's hired through us. And some of the first, he's promoted all the way up through the chain to be office manager, his head personal assistant. So it's not like you're plugging people into a slot and they can never grow. It's human capital. They should be a part of your accountability charts. You have to treat your virtual team just like you would your in-person team, and give them the opportunity to grow with the business as well. And it just so happens that if that's the kind of person you're promoting, thanks to different economies, you're paying someone who in the US you'd pay $100,000 to. You're paying them a fraction of that, and it's someone that you wouldn't trade for anything in the world. And so, I like to say that we are doing more for the global economy than anyone in Washington, D.C., other than just talking about it, right? Like, we're actually helping people have a good life where they live. And some of the stories that we hear, we kind of like a baby making factory at this point. It's kind of funny. People get married because they have steady jobs, right? They start having families. Our maternity pay, is extremely strong. And like, the people we've met and the lives that we've changed in other countries is the most fulfilling thing that I would have never anticipated. It's really fantastic.
I love this. What's your screening process like if you have that many applicants and you only are able to place a small percentage? It's still a large number of people, but still you've got to go
Yeah.
through a huge number of applications.
We do, and so we have a lot of digital tests and screening methods set up so people can trip up along the way and get kicked out of the system. I've never been a huge resume guy. That's like the last thing we look at in both of my businesses. So there's about 20 points in our process where you can, if you're not careful, and this is how we find the best of the best, right? And so we're doing, yeah, we've got a huge team now and we're doing hundreds of interviews per week, but that's how we whittle down that enormous number into truly finding the people who want it and who are going to be really good workers for you.
This sounds great. Tell me, if folks are interested and want to be able to learn more about you, Brett, and the solutions that you offer, what is the best way to get in touch with you?
So getstaffedup.com, just like it sounds. And what we've done, Catherine, for you and your listeners is we've set up a landing page and we've done a discount. So if you go to getstaffedup.com/business vitality, then your listeners will get a nice little discount off of our already modest startup fee in order to get going, and what we call delegate your way to freedom, right? You can't do everything yourself. You'll never be happy, like you and I have discussed. So you can start with one person at a time and just start getting rid of the things that are the lowest like monetary uses of your time and the things that make you the least happy or that drain your energy. And so anyway, there's lots of companies you can work with. If you'd love to work with us, or at least, have a conversation with us, go to that URL, and we've got like talk to us now all over the website. So it's real easy once you get there to get in touch with us.
That sounds great. Thank you, Brett, for being able to add that offer. I appreciate that. I know our listeners appreciate it as well. Thank you so much, Brett Trembly. You are the co-founder of Get Staffed Up, found on the web at getstaffedup.com. And you have a special offer for our listeners that they can find at their own URL, which is getstaffedup.com/business vitality. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me, Catherine. I loved it today. Take care.
You too.
Thanks for listening to the episode. If you like it, please subscribe, share this episode or this show with other people around you. The greatest form of a compliment is a referral. I really appreciate them. And if you think that you want to learn more about some of the work we're doing, I encourage you to reach out to CatherineCantey.com. You can schedule a call or just continue to read articles and information that we post out there. Thank you so much for being here.